This presentation will provide an overview of a research paper, which examines survey responses from Summer Institute and digital literacy participants about what types of scenarios they classify as digital literacy. Our team of researchers designed these questions by generating hypothetical classroom scenarios with intentionally vague descriptions. Respondents were asked, is this an example of digital literacy, and could answer yes, no, or maybe, and were required to explain their reasoning. Participants were asked the same set of questions before and after the institute. Our goal was to understand the reasoning that teachers used in classifying activities as digital literacy, and to see if these reasoning processes changed over the week. In this paper, two specific scenarios are examined quantitatively and qualitatively due to their rich responses. In one scenario, students read and comment on a movie review without specifying exactly how. And in the other, students work together to showcase examples of Korean pop culture. Many respondents were initially unsure if reading and commenting on a movie review was considered digital literacy. However, the yes responses increased over time, while the no's and the maybes decreased by the end of the institute, suggesting an increase in open-mindedness about digital literacy and what it looks like, and a decrease in uncertainty. Looking deeper into educators' reasoning for this scenario, the pre-test responses clearly show sharp boundaries among topics such as media literacy, online sharing and dialogue, digital reading and writing, and print literacy. The majority of respondents for this scenario relied on media type as their criteria in some way. Some said it is digital literacy because movies are digital. Others said that reading and commenting on a movie review must be digital in terms of how they read and write, and sub-themes emerge within this reasoning. In the post-test, media type was again a driving force in defining digital literacy. However, a number of responses did not fall neatly into the categories of movies or reading and commenting as defining criteria. Rather, they discussed engagement with media more generally, which might suggest an expansion of thinking about media and texts. There certainly was a notable expansion of educators' ideas about literacy, showing less of a distinction in the post-test between digital and print literacies and texts. So we can say that with regards to the reading and commenting on a movie review scenario, educators' ideas about print versus digital literacies expanded, and the boundaries between topics such as media literacy, online sharing and dialogue, digital reading and writing, and print literacy began to overlap in meaningful ways. In the scenario where students work together to showcase examples of Korean pop culture, the maybe and no responses decreased over time, again suggesting an increase in open thinking about digital literacy with less uncertainty. The majority of participants again relied on media type as the defining criteria, though there were distinct subcategories that emerged, noting either that research and navigation must be digital or that the end product or presentation must be digital for it to count as digital literacy. Participants that mentioned media type in their justifications but did not fall neatly into one of these two categories either used the word media in an unspecified way, not tied to research or to the end product, or they attested that both the research process and the end product must be digital for it to be classified as digital literacy. These distinctions within media type were still present in the post-test. However, the responses discussing the research process as a defining factor increased, while those focusing on the final presentation or the end product decreased. These findings may suggest a shift from focusing on the product of an activity to the critical creative process involved. Other new themes emerging in the post-test for this scenario included discussions of curation, collaboration, critical thinking, and culture. This demonstrates that educators' reasoning processes became more varied and complex, and new themes and terms emerged in the post-test that were not present in the pre-test. Considering both of the classroom scenarios explored here, it can be said that participant reasoning expanded, boundaries became blurrier, and greater emphasis was later placed on the creative process rather than on the use of certain tools and the presence of certain digital skills. These findings are important because they show that the Institute is encouraging educators to think out of the box, to wrestle with new expansions of text and literacy, and to challenge and reorganize pre-existing beliefs that might be limiting their classroom experiences. We know that any kind of change in education is an uphill battle, a long winding road with many speed bumps. It would be bold to say that the Institute completely revamps educators' thinking in just 1 week, but we can say that the Institute offers the beginnings of powerful, long-lasting changes. This investigation will help us shape our intentions and plans for the 2015 Summer Institute. Hope to see you there.